feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it sinks-
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the post-show wrap-up of The Shrimp Tank. I'm your host, Rich Jensen, along with my co-host, David Sims, and our guest, Alese Stroud of Vortylon. I wanted to say Vortylon Strategies because it was so much strategic strategy and strategic things we talked about, but it's just Vortylon. Each week on the post-show wrap-up, we like to bring you the highlights of our conversations with our guests, and our guests are some of the brightest and best CEOs and entrepreneurs in and around the state of Arkansas. We just finished a great show, so you'll definitely want to go to arkansas.shrimptankpodcast.com and catch everything that we were able to pull from Alese, because she's got a lot of great insights and I think a very unique take. What Vortylon is doing is around basically intangible capital. Is fascinating to me.
Yes, yeah. That's true. Alese proved to us once again that she's not a shrimp, she's a great white.
There you go.
And so we are privileged to have her swimming in the tank here with us. And Alese, thank you again for your time. And we talked about intangible capital. There's 4 kinds, and we had so much that we've split it into 2 shows. We just covered the first one, and we're going to do the other 2 next week. And the 2 we want to cover today are the human capital and relationship capital. So talk to our viewers about what human capital is and why it is important in the process of positioning your business for sale and how that can increase the value.
Gotcha. So, by the way, thank you for having me back.
Oh, it's great to have you.
So human capital is all of those people in your company that walk out every night. They're the interface with your clients. And how that relates to selling your company is an opportunity for you to assess how dependent you are on rock stars. So how many of these fabulous people would walk out the door permanently if you sold your company? How many of them would stay? And what training do you need to put in place to make sure that you maintain all that brilliance that they have in their heads and the relationships that they have with your clients? So that bleeds over into the other kind of capital that we want to talk about.
Yes.
The relationship.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And it's interesting because the relationship capital, I kind of talked about, I was thinking, within the company, but you talked a lot about outside the company, even with the professionals, your attorneys, your CPA, those kinds of things that the next group coming in needs to have a relationship
vendors,
with. Exactly.
yeah.
Vendors.
Right.
Exactly. So share a little more in depth about that relationship capital.
Sure. Well, while you're operating your relationships with your village, all those external people that it takes to make your company successful are mission critical. You need to have positive relationships with them. And once you start thinking about selling your company, you need to give some thought to how you transition those relationships. Which of them will the successor want to keep? Will he want to have the same lawyer? Who knows? But how do you transition all of those things? How do you introduce the new guy or gal to your vendors to make sure those relationships are positive?
Now, does relationship capital also encompass your relationship with your customers?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
So in the due diligence process and the negotiating with a buyer, they're going to probably want to confirm that you have good relationship with your customers, right?
They actually will as part of their due diligence.
Right.
A client I'm working with right now, as a matter of fact, has a documented risk that there are 3 outstanding client complaints with the company that they're looking at buying.
Right.
So they get pretty up close and personal.
And
about
does
that.
Vortylon help with that?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
so it helps with the client relationship and working through those kind of things, and how do you resolve them, huh?
Yeah.
And you also mentioned on the podcast about how the ideal client for Vortylon is to have them a business owner 5 years before they're actually going to
That
sell.
surprised me.
So why?
Yeah.
So why?
Yes.
So why such a long lag time? And I know it's good money for Vortylon, but come on now. I mean,
We're not going to be with you every day. But none of the magic happens overnight. The things that are necessary to make your company sell at high value, they take time. Unless you're willing to give me half of your staff full time to focus on only that, which nobody is. It's
Hasn't happened yet, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't have a magic wand. I can't make that stuff
Can't
happen
happen
overnight,
overnight.
so it takes time.
That's right. Culture takes cultivation, doesn't it?
It
It's
does.
like a garden.
It does.
Takes time, yeah.
That's a really good way to think about it.
Yeah, that's
I
interesting.
wish I could remember that little tidbit I gave you on the podcast, because it's probably the first original thought I've had in this area.
It was a good one, but I forgot it too.
I already forgot.
We're all having a Boomer Gray moment, aren't we?
So,
Well, Lisa, we
Fine,
want to
Tim,
thank
we
you
are.
so much for coming on the tank
welcome.
again. For those who want to find out more about Vortylon or get in touch with you, what would be the best way for them to do so?
absolutely, the best way to get in touch with me is to drop me a note at A Stroud, it's spelled Stroud, at Vortylon.com. And Vortylon is spelled with a Y, Vortylon.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hey, next week on the tank, we're going to have Alese back and talk about intangible capital items number 3 and 4. You won't want to miss it. Until then, stay safe and remember, to become a shark in business, we all start out as shrimp.